Ahoy, fellow Niner fans.
And welcome aboard The Joy of Trek, a Scotch-infused podcast exploring the bases and outfields of Star Trek, all of it. I'm Cocky.
I'm Kay.
And citing the rulebook is your chief engineer, Greg.
Together, we're on a mission through the opposing team's dugout to find the poor sport in every Vulcan and the excellence in every episode.
Even the bunting Ferengi.
Because every episode must be someone's favorite, and it might as well be us.
So activate your spectators and join us as we slide into the joy of Trek. Take me out to the Holosuite. I don't know how the rest of that song goes.
I have no idea how the melody of that song goes. I have not got a clue. Hello, welcome, thank you, listeners.
We're doing the baseball one. It's called Take Me Out to the Holosuite, and it first aired October 21st, 1998, written by Ronald D. Directed by Chip Chalmers, and it is a delight.
Yes, we are again a little bit out of our comfort zone, as this is a well-liked episode. It makes several top 10 lists of Star Trek.
I'll bet.
Mainly Holosuite episodes.
Nothing goes wrong.
Oh, no, you're right.
It's the rare case where it just works exactly as intended.
There's no crisis. There is nothing... Oh, you were talking about the Holosuite. I thought you were talking about the episode in general. You know, there is really no...
And also that, nothing unexpected really happens. It's a very straightforward contest. Because in this episode, Kay, what happens?
Oh.
And remember, there are people who haven't seen it at all. So you're...
Right.
Your insistence on being completely accurate yet useless does alienate a lot of people.
Commander... Oh, it does?
I don't know, actually. I don't know. I say that, but go ahead.
Oh, Commander Sisko's long-standing rivalry with a Vulcan captain comes to a climax as he is baited into one final showdown.
Yeah. On the field of... Oh, what do they have? They have I
think they usually call it the diamond.
Parallelogram diamond.
They usually call it the diamond, I believe.
It's a type of parallelogram, really.
Oh, well, I don't think a parallelogram, there's any parallelograms.
I guess stop spelling that before you hurt yourself.
With a rounded edge. But if you just look at the bases, it's a square.
Oh, okay.
So, yes. Diamond.
I'm going to really do my best not to sort of make fun of baseball and its naming things being a little bit silly, because it's a sport. They're full of weird rules and lots of people enjoy them. It's going to be a struggle. But it's okay because
okay, get it out of your system. Which are the weird ones that you've come across so far? Which are the ones that are nagging you?
Well, the first time that I heard bunt, I thought, oh, whoa.
You never heard of
broadcast standards and practices really slipped up there.
Oh, you thought you were going blunt or something? Or
sure.
It's just bunt have another meaning. I mean, you've got bunt cake and everything. It's not a dirty word as in its own.
No, but it does rhyme with ones that are. It was just a misunderstanding of certain other words.
Oh, okay.
I mean, it's baseball has its own thing, and they do make a point of showing how Byzantine some of these rules are.
Oh,
but, you can construct that for any game or language, but it's still it's a bit of fun to poke at.
I'm kind of surprised that they didn't go with for a bulk little situation.
Wait, do you actually know how to play baseball?
A little bit.
Oh. Okay, so we're on opposite sides of the barricades. I'm just sort of peering through at this mysterious activity.
I mean, I guess it's not going to be my deleted scene because I know what that's going to be. But I kind of imagine that, because they're doing these constant shots where the pitcher, especially the Vulcan one, is looking back over its shoulder.
I was going to ask about
Kira
that.
Is standing away from base. She's obviously looking for an opportunity to steal base, which usually leads to the situation where a pitcher tries to throw out the runner who's away from base by throwing the ball to the baseman, and then catching them off base and then tagging them out, which often leads to a bunt situation, which is one of the Byzantine rules that you were talking about. Okay, so a bunt is when you start to go and swing, and then you just don't do it, okay?
Okay, no, fine. That sounds great to me. I'm not a sports guy.
No, sorry. This is like a long. Anybody who knows baseball will know this. Know that joke.
What a fun joke!
It's because it's a really complicated rule. Basically, what it basically comes down to is once the pitcher starts.
You came so close to not explaining it. That's the future that I want. I was so glad that you weren't going to explain it. Okay. And now here we are in the worst timeline where you are explaining it. Okay. So
who recommended this episode to us?
Oh, actually, we have a recommendation here from... Oh, we actually have a recording. Let's listen to this recording where our chief engineer has said, I have a little scheme.
Ooh. Oh dear.
Let's find out.
I remember what happened last time someone said that.
I love all of DS9, but this one is one of my favorites. The Vulcan commander Solak challenges Cisco to a baseball game. It is such a fun episode because the baseball is an Earth game, and having them play it and with different species is so fun to watch as they learn the rules. And I know what Miles is going through since I just had my rotator cuff fixed recently.
No.
Rom is really endearing here because he really wants to play and just isn't a good player.
Death to the
I
opposition.
love that they all rally around him after Cisco removes him from the team, and Rom actually does get to play and ends up the hero.
Goodbye.
Wow.
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 Talk about messing with the batter.
Hey, good job, Chief's mum, for actually enduring that. How many people were in the
I
background
don't know,
there?
but it sounded like they had a bit of a chorus going at one point.
Yeah, that was in fact just my dad and I deciding to just mess with her a little bit. And you could tell that she was just ignoring us because has 3 siblings, has 4 children. She's very used to just ignoring nonsense to just focus on what she needs to do. So that is definitely one of my mom's just primary skills there.
What a wonderful recommendation. Now, for those of you who, like me, only caught a tiny fraction of that while they were singing through there. Oh, whew. So Greg's mum gives a summary of this episode as we just did, and she thinks it's fascinating. Oh, and she can really relate to Miles since she also had a rotator cuff incident. And that everyone rallies around Rom, who really wants to play but just isn't a great player, and it's all ultimately about the love of the game and the sport and the caring about each other,
camaraderie,
which all matters much more than rivalry. Because positive relationships they trump negative ones, or they should really.
Hopefully. I guess it was fairly cheap, to make. I mean, most of the scenes were just out on the field.
Yeah, I had a note about that the moment that Cisco dismisses the crowd,
Yeah.
I went, that's a good cost-saving measure.
Yeah.
So you only need to have a crowd for one day, and all the other days of filming, you don't have to hire all those extras.
Yeah, very good point. I was wondering if they... actually, I wrote that written down. It's how much of this crowd is actually people, and actually people from the station. But no, it turns out that it was only Rom who was sitting in the bleachers.
Oh, so, yeah. Oh, that's a shame that nobody else from the station was involved.
I would have expected a few. Maybe not the Ferengi waiters, because they had to
yeah, they would have been
keep the bar running. But yeah, just anybody else might have just joined in for a little fun in the game.
So this episode was based on an episode of Fame, the TV series.
Oh, yeah?
The old ball game written by Ira Stephen Bear. And let me see. Also influenced by the Bad News Bears.
The Bad News Bears.
I've had these bullet points summarized to the point that I no longer remember what they're about.
Okay.
It's a bit of a problem.
Annoying.
It's Michael Pillar's favorite sport. Michael Pillar is one of the showrunners on Deep Space Nine. But in the very first episode that he wrote in Emissary, he described that it's a game that hasn't been played for centuries anymore. So he eliminated his favorite game from the universe of Star Trek, and the writers very kindly sort of reintroduced it gradually.
Back into it first, of course, with the team that his Bo's brother is running on. I don't know where, somewhere on the Outer Rim.
Wait, who?
The brother of
Casper Yates' brother.
Yes.
Yeah. That's how they sort of fell in love.
Right. Yes, that's how they. Due to little Jake being, not so little Jake anymore at that point, being a little scheming matchmaker.
He knew what he was doing, though.
Oh, absolutely.
Filmed at Loyola Marymount University. Oh, and here's something fun. Sir Rock Lofton has an uncle who's a Major League Baseball player called Ken Lofton.
Okay.
And so on the set, he was wearing the cap of his uncle's team.
Oh, very nice.
Isn't that fun? Okay. Do we drive in? Do we dive in? I've got.
I don't think we have any work course.
Well, I've got some. So baseball given to Sick-X Skvazko, signed by team members. I think your cat may have walked on my pad while I would briefly put it aside. So,
So yes, we don't have any corked bats to eject from the game.
Corked bats?
Well, again, it's a baseball thing. It's like
my God!
They core out
this game.
They core out the bats
A bat?
and fill it with cork to make it lighter, I think. And it's
the stick. The stick bat, like not a live animal.
We're talking about baseball.
I know, but I just sort of forgot. And then I thought the corked bat's flying out. I thought you were taking like a little upside down, flying mammal. What an awful thing to do. I thought you were doing the full Ozzy Osbourne on the poor little creature.
Kaki, sometimes I wonder about you. I worry about you too.
Thank you. It's nice to know someone cares.
Ooh, that's loud.
Yikes!
Also the wrong.
Ooh. Okay, well, we're in a new era of technology, so hold on to your butts for this.
Captain Solok of the starship Tacumba is here to see you.
Welcome to Deep Space Nine, Captain.
Your welcome is acknowledged.
I have the power now.
It's been a long time.
10 years, 2 months,
my
5
power
days.
is not very good.
You mean you don't know it to the minute?
Of course I do. But humans are
That's
often
a
irked
blind.
by
That
such
data
precision,
said that.
especially the more emotional humans.
There we go.
There we go. Yeah.
We arrive with...
the glove is thrown down.
We have Captain Solok arriving on Deep Space Nine, taunting Captain Sisko, and... Kay, speaking of opposite side of the barricade, we've sort of argued about the relative sort of personality traits of various aliens that have appeared before.
Yes.
Mendon, the question was, is he annoying for a Benzite, or are all Benzites annoying? Which is a very different kind of
Yes.
opinion. What do you think of Solok?
Well, I mean, I'd say that the evidence is definitely in that he has. I don't know. I mean, he has it in for Sisko.
Yes.
What's causing that is I don't know. I mean, we don't know the precursor to the story we hear.
Right.
We hear him how he walks in on Sisko and a few of his men in a bar and starts baiting him. So do they have a prehistory, or did he just happen into that bar on that day trying to find someone?
I don't know, but he's just an asshole, right?
He is.
He is
Although, I
a
don't know.
Vulcan asshole who is No.
I firmly believe, headcanon, there is a very strong standing tradition of, how did I write it down again? Oh, yes. Scientific dissing among Vulcans, who just kind of make a...
Yes,
Everybody denies and ignores it. Oh, sorry, everybody will deny it to the grave, and that it's purely a healthy scientific debate. But like half of Vulcan research papers are just like personal attacks against
diss tracks.
Diss tracks against other.
Oh fucking yeah! Solok feet Zon.
And Solok just happened to latch onto a human to do it too, rather than.
I do.
Maybe even he wasn't doing very well among the Vulcan diss party, and this is just his crutch.
Oh my god!
He's just not very good. He got dissed hard, and he got. I need to get like some in on this. I'm like, since he couldn't cut it among the Vulcans, he is now taking it out on a human instead. Which, of course, like has had a few more papers about him written about as well. Like he keeps to have this almost emotional fascination with humans and their emotions, and specifically this particular one.
I think that he's definitely prejudiced, probably bigoted, possibly racist.
Oh yeah.
Because they even have sort of damning with faint praise.
Oh, very much so.
I understand you were recently honored with the Christopher Pike Medal for Valor.
Yes.
Yeah, right. Super insincere.
And then, he returns the compliment. Oh, it was my second, actually.
And later on about humans.
However, I've come to expect a lack of professionalism and efficiency on starbases run by human officers.
See, exactly. There. Racism, that's his whole thing.
Also, how did he even get in it? Well, I mean, an entire Federation ship run by just Vulcans? I mean, I guess it's...
Oh, it's happened before.
Yeah.
In the original series, you had the Intrepid, which was an all-Vulcan crew. But, I mean, you'd expect it more, right? We happen to see mostly human majority crews.
Oh, human majority, but there's always aliens aboard. It's rarely that there's an all-human crew.
Yeah. Well, I think for statistical purposes, you might as well call it an all-human crew plus MISC.
Right. Oh, yeah, I'll agree on that one, but...
It reeks of bias, and that's what Solok carries in with him throughout this, with his steely gaze.
I have created a special program for my senior staff, and they are quite eager to resume using it.
Really?
Yes. In fact, you may find the program of some interest. It is based on an Earth game.
And what game would that be?
And then immediately, Cisco summons the senior officers to the wardroom.
Emergency meeting.
And everyone's gathered together. Like, what are we here to do?
Well, we are going to stand up for the honor of this Deep Space Nine and my particular vendetta with, I forgot his name already.
Solok. Well, see, Cisco doesn't admit to this yet. That's this motivation that we know is something that Cassidy has to pry out of him. Like he says, it's
Their captain considers his crew, and all Vulcan crew, by the way, to be the finest in the fleet. I happen to think that the people sitting at this table comprise the finest crew in the quadrant.
I know, well, we don't know the specifics, but it's very clear from the get-go that they have a rivalry going, that this is not a happy coincidence, that, just a little friendly competition, no, that this is very clearly a setup by Solok.
And Cisco has accepted on their behalf, which Worf enthusiastically responds to,
We will destroy them.
It's the sort of cool confidence. And then they ask, so what will this contest of wills be?
Yes, baseball. Cut to the crew poring over the rules.
Okay, so when Kira explains...
Chapter 25. The infield fly rule is invoked in instances where with both first base and second base occupied, or with first, second, and third base occupied...
What if there is a runner at home?
There's never a runner at home.
Is all of baseball like this?
Yes. Because, I
ask that sincerely.
It's the classic example. Every rule is there for a reason.
Right. It's every paragraph is preceded by an unfortunate event.
Exactly. Well,
okay.
This specific rule, I swear I am not an expert at the base. Just that I happen to know this particular rule. Fielder intentionally lets a fly ball hit the ground rather than catching him. He has the opportunity to try and pick it up again and immediately try and get out two runners, rather than if he catches it, then the batter's out, but the other runners get to advance, I believe. So
I can tune out.
Yeah.
Look, I'm not going to stop you. You're having podcasts are as much a conversation with the audience as they are with us. I do not have to be receptive to what you're saying in order for you to have fun saying it. I'm sure that you're right.
This is such a case where I wish that I was there to back Kay up with this, because I care about two sports, even slightly. It's baseball and it's hockey. And I would actually like to talk baseball a little with Kay here, because Kay's right. Like, it's fine, Cocky. I'm not upset with you at all. I get it. It's not your thing. I'm not going to be upset. I just wish that I was here to just, help Kay out here, because I am on Kay's side here.
I have such respect for, because these are three aliens.
Yes.
There's Worf, there's Kira, there's Nog, and they're just sort of going over this, and they think it sort of makes sense. It's a little bit challenging to keep up.
Right. But they're Starfleet tryhards, so they know how to pick up a textbook with meaningless, useless information and memorize it.
Yeah.
That seems simple enough.
That's a good attitude, Nog.
I would also just argue that baseball is a pretty good sport where you just pick things up as you go. It's not terribly complicated to just actually play. When you get down into the minutia, there's more complications there, but playing, it's fairly straightforward once you see it in motion. I would suffer having to just read through it, but once I play, I'm good. It's like learning a new board game or whatever. So I would do better in the holodeck learning by getting hit in the face with a ball than reading and suffering through reading the rules. I'm not that person, unfortunately.
Oh, then we go to Julian and Miles, and I think Esri is sort of coaching, or at least prompting them at this point.
Uh-huh.
Chief, what's a grand slam?
Well, she's helping them, yeah.
A home run that's hit when the bases are crowded.
Right, except it's bases loaded.
Yeah, okay.
Yes.
And everyone's getting into it.
And, well, first one, yes, especially when the fancy Dan is mentioned, and I love Bashir's expression, because Bashir's expression is like, that's me.
Yeah, you're right.
You can totally see him already trying to plot, okay, how am I going to fancy Dan this?
Yeah. Because he's been, he's out of the closet as a genetically enhanced person.
Exactly.
So he can show off a little bit. And even Rom and Lita show up.
Yes.
I love the sort of guileless enthusiasm with which they show up. Hey,
we want to play. We want to play too. We want to do the tryouts, and they kind of almost goad Quark into trying out as well. Quark is being his usually dismissive self about it, But then after they leave, you go like, what time are he goes, yeah, what time are the tryouts?
Exactly. I'm really curious what his motivation is there. Because he says, oh, God, I have the clip, so I might as well use them.
You can barely spin a double wheel, much less kick a ball around a field.
Shows how much you know. You don't kick the ball.
Do you?
Yeah.
You don't.
Jake says it's a game that takes heart. And you sold yours a long time ago.
Do you think it's because he wants to be in the family sort of thing?
I guess he wants to get in on a little family activity, I suppose. That's about the only thing. Why, I can't imagine. What does give him this change of heart? I don't know.
I mean, he does love his brother and his nephew, and he does see that they're all moving on with their lives, and they're no longer under his control.
He's still stuck in the bar.
Or maybe he just wants to show up his brother. Also quite possible. So, the field. Yeah, we have all of our players out in the field. Coach Cisco.
He's doing I can't hear you.
Yeah! And Jake is there with him as his assistant coach, sort of, because they're the veterans of the game. They know how it's played.
Yes, although he says all of you has at least seen one game together with me here in the Holosuite, and
yes, because your promotion's dependent on it, and I made sure.
Let's have your heart-to-heart or the bilateral treatment or your little thing.
Yeah, your performance review.
Yeah, that's the word I was looking for. Let's have your performance reviewed while we're watching a baseball game, shall we? And everybody's like, oh God, here we go again.
And if there's one thing our Vulcan friends lack, it's heart.
Now, what's really interesting about this, when we see them pair off and doing some practice...
They're standing way too close to each other, by the way, but that makes for better pan shots, I guess.
Who do you think is the best player on the cast?
Oh, interesting. Let me have a quick look. There's a lot of limp-armed throws that we see going.
Yeah.
Who is the best player on the cast? I would think probably Colmini or maybe Siddiq.
I see why you'd suggest that, because they do spend a lot of time off the field, which is probably where you want your best player to be, so that they don't look too good.
Right.
It's Rom.
Oh, okay.
Max Grojenchik came this close to going pro after high school.
Wow.
He really struggled to fuck up like Rom is supposed to.
Right, I can imagine, yes.
So the director eventually went, okay, stop. Took off his glove, put it on his other hand, now go.
Oh, that's why he's playing lefty.
Yes, exactly.
I noticed that, but I was...
But so he was specifically largely written out of the game so that he could be on set coaching his castmates.
Doesn't have to be in makeup. He can just help along with...
Yeah.
Yeah, it's very good.
And there's one more cast member who needs to be invited because they also need an umpire.
Oh, yeah. So off to Odo.
Wouldn't a holographic umpire be more accurate?
I don't want a computer program calling a baseball game. That's something Solak would do.
And he really flatters Odo.
Yes.
You're so impartial. No, you're so... And also available. And also, I can't think of anybody else.
It's very flattering.
And he is. He is a little bit vain, Odo. A lot more than he admits.
A little bit, yes. So, cut to sickbay after the first day of practice.
Everyone is in tatters.
Everybody is in tatters.
And I think maybe it's all Rom's fault.
Well, maybe, yes. I mean, Dax is
At least I remember being an athlete. My third host, Emily, was an Olympic gymnast. I keep expecting my legs to react like hers did, but I fell all over myself. It's like I don't know my own body anymore.
Yeah, because Esri's this is her fourth episode, I think, on the show. And, she wasn't a host candidate who trained for years and years Jadzia did. She just happened to be an available host on the ship that was carrying the Dax symbiote.
That's the episode that we learned that it's not so critical that the symbiote be matched to a very specific host, isn't it?
Well, that's something that the Deep Space Nine crew discovered, yeah.
Yes.
But so she offered her body and I guess also personality as a way to save a passenger on their craft. But yeah, so she's still sorting out all these memories. She didn't have any training.
No, exactly. I can't remember exactly. Did she not make the cut, or did she never apply
she never
to
applied.
it? Yeah,
straight into Starfleet.
Yeah,
where she became a counselor, which was quite successful. But a lot of this bumbling nature of hers early in the season. She wasn't like that before she was joined. She was a perfectly competent, capable...
Just now having to adjust to something she was never prepared for.
Yeah, extra chunks of personality.
Yeah, I guess she knows the general gist of how it goes, but yeah, she's never heard the details and never been trained
in, like, when you summon a memory, here's how you filter here's the metadata that you need to strip out of the ID3 tag in order to read whose memory this is. But also, like, Quark.
Knitting together a couple of bones is not major surgery, Quark.
It is if the bones are in the back of your skull.
Again, no. Like, do you need me to get out the gender reassignment shotgun, or is it like...
And Miles is out because he's torn his rotator cuff again.
No.
Like, okay. Do you think that Miles is glad that he was out of the game?
Okay, actually, we'll get back to that later.
Because he says,
I was really looking forward to the game.
He sounds so sincere.
He does.
Which I think is like an NCO skill.
Absolutely,
Get to practice this a lot, so he's way better at faking it than anyone.
Yes, totally.
But the captain, as much as he's disappointed in this...
There's an old saying, those who can't...
Coach.
and now you're the coach for... Oh, what was it? Pitching and first base. And he goes, oh, yeah, cool.
Great. I was hoping to get some...
Which one was first base?
Yeah, well... I was hoping to get some field coils realigned, but I guess...
Yeah, I guess I'm doing this now. And Julian says, I've got to go. I've got to finish surgery on on Worf. And Rom says...
Tell him I'm sorry.
Because it's his fault. He took out Quark. He took out Worf. I bet you he tore the rotator cuff. I bet it's all Rom's fault.
Do you know what the zygomatic bone is?
I do not.
I don't know either, but it's like... It's got the word zygote in it. It's like...
Chief, what's a zygomatic bone?
So this one is fun because, like my Big Fat Greek Wedding says, all words eventually come back to Greek. So zygomatic bone is just the cheekbone or the malar bone. So it comes from the Greek word zygoma, meaning yolk. So really, it's just the cheekbone. That's all they're talking about.
Yeah. Well, anyway, I mean, it must have been taking quite some effort to do that to all three of them. I wonder if it was in the same swing.
Always look behind you before you take a swing. But, they're still not complete. They're still not complete.
No. Sisko goes and pulls a little few strings to make sure that his bow's freighter is like, for some reason.
Now I get what you mean. His bell. Bow is the male version of your sweetheart.
There you go. Right, yes. Yeah, so she pulled some strings, and for some reason she finds herself on DS9 without any work for 3 weeks.
In fact, my next 3 cargo runs have been reassigned. Yeah, bureaucrats who knows why they do anything.
He bribed them! He bribed them, and he won't say anything about it. And he's so sweet. He's brought double flowers.
Yes.
And Cassidy is completely swooning at him, and he says he has some ideas for how they could spend their time together.
How's your throwing arm holding up?
Well, that could be really interpreted in a different way, if you know.
Ooh, yeah, I'm gonna have some bunt fun. All right, let's go.
More practice. This is where Rom gets kicked off the team.
Yeah,
because he is just entirely rubbish.
Yeah, a lot of time is spent showing off just how skittish and nervous, but he does really want to. Like, he's even
tries
so
very
proud.
Hard, yes.
I'm going to hit the ball today.
Yeah.
Wow.
All of this is being observed by Solok, who is just like sitting there going like, "Oh, this is going to be such a walkover."
Yeah, and Worf, who is just a bastion of courage throughout all this.
If he is taking the time to conduct reconnaissance, he must be worried.
He should be.
Yeah. Why aren't they doing the same thing?
Why aren't who doing the same thing?
Why aren't the Niners scouting out the logicians?
Right. I guess maybe he did.
It's a reasonable thing to do, right?
Yes. Well, apparently so. I mean, clearly. I mean, I can't imagine that Solok would have done this without permission.
Yeah.
Yeah. So.
Can't be unsporting.
No. I mean, I don't know what the rules are. I mean, I know, like, there's, like, public and secret trainings.
Totally.
Yeah. I mean, it usually happens. And I know, like, with football teams, like soccer, as some people call it, you know, that a lot of trainings are public for the, like, first 15 minutes or half an hour, and the press can have a look and get a few shots. And when they're just, like, doing their running and warming and their little training exercises, and then when it goes to more tactical stuff, then everybody gets kicked out of the stadium, and then they start doing their
Yeah, then they just sort of have
strategic tactical training.
The computer delete the audience that...
Well...
If you don't want to get deleted, get out of here first. You know why it's called soccer?
Oh, no, do tell.
It's association football. SOC is in there. Okay. And you had rugby football as well, so it's also known as rugger. Hey.
Rugger, I know that one.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, we have a listener called that. But yeah, Rom is such a disappointment that Solok just walks away. No threat here. And, like, he really wants to impress his captain.
I'll do better tomorrow, Captain.
No, you won't. You are finished. Gone. Off the team.
Sir, can't you give him another chance?
Is anyone talking to you, Ensign?
Yeah. He's going way too hard here.
A little bit, which everybody pretty much agrees to, because there's, like, Rom is sitting there in the bar moping. Like, he hates me. No, he doesn't.
Yeah, it's the whole family. What do you think their family name is, by the way? You have Rom, Quark, Nog, and Lita, who married into the family.
I don't know. I think Ferengi ever did family names. We've never had...
Well, they're all the children of Ishka, so the Ishkaelites.
Oh, that's skirting very close to...
I'm sorry, no. I've just decided that they're called the Ishkaelites. Yeah, come on. They're one of the tribes of...
Ishka.
Ferenginar, I guess.
Yes.
But even, like, Kira, Miles, Julian, or I should say Nerys.
Yes.
Because apparently there is some continuity errors with her shirt, which sometimes says Kira and sometimes says Nerys.
Oh. So I guess they must have... Why would they make multiple but different? I mean, usually it's the surname on the back of the jersey, I believe.
Yeah, which is Kira in her case. But, like, maybe the costume department, or they had a new intern or something, or just a little mistake was made.
They'd already made one, and then they made the other one, but they'd already filmed some, so...
I don't know. Yeah. I don't know. It happens sometime. But, like, everyone has decided, as they say...
So we've decided to quit, unless he reinstates you immediately.
Rom, this is how unions work. Even the rubbish people get to work.
Yeah, he should be recognized. Oh, are we doing a union again? Yeah. I know how this goes.
Exactly.
Let's beat up Worf.
Again.
But he's very, very sporting, and he says...
I had my chance, but I wasn't good enough. Let's face it, the captain's right. I'll deserve to be on the team. You play. You've earned it.
Playing baseball doesn't mean anything to me.
But it should. You're good at it.
Which is really sweet.
Yes.
Because he wants his friends who all succeeded better than him, and he doesn't begrudge them that, and he still wants to see them play and beat those Vulcans.
He'll be happy. Yeah, he'll just be happy to go and support and sit and watch and not drag the team down.
Miles and Julian discover the wonder.
A bit of a throwaway scene. Yeah, it's like no idea what this adds to the entire story other than a little bit of atmosphere about the time. Like, what are you eating? Oh, it's just chewing gum. It's like, I'm not eating it, I'm just chewing.
They just chewed it? No, they infused the gum with flavor.
What did you infuse it with?
Scotch.
Not traditional.
I can't imagine that. It's great, actually.
I mean, yes. I mean, it's a little bit woody, I guess, and peaty if you want to.
But it dilutes. Like,
yeah.
That's the difficulty, I guess, of making these chewing gum flavors. Like, they have to make a great first impression, but then they also have to be enjoyable as they dilute and sort of vanish. Like, sweet is great, but, I mean, is there such a thing as, I'm
savory
suddenly getting
gum?
excited. Well, licorice, I was thinking. Hard.
Right.
Hard salt licorice.
I mean, have you ever tried chewing licorice root?
Yes.
Yeah. Well, there you go. That's probably more of a flavor that would be suitable for.
Yeah. What's it called again in English?
Oh,
licorice
root.
It's got a different name. It is licorice root. Yeah.
We call it sweetwood in Dutch.
Yeah. It's a weird traditional form of candy that's just a stick.
Yep.
Okay, I have to chime in here because I have actually had Scotch-flavored hard candy, and I believe Scotch liqueur dark chocolate before, both of which are really fantastic, and I enjoyed them before I became a fan of Scotch in general. So I could see it working, potentially. I don't know how well it would work with gum, but I can say that Scotch hard candy is actually pretty good. And again, this is from that does not like Scotch that much. I was a fan of this.
Like, this is in the middle of the Dominion War, but we keep cutting to the wardroom where Captain Sisko is, like, grilling his crew about tactics, except there's not battle plans.
He's using the tactical display very well. He's like quizzing them on what to...
All right, you got to run on first, you got to run on second. One away.
Ground ball at second baseman. Kira, what do you do?
I go for the double play. Unless the runner on third is already on his way home. In which case...
Get the phaser out and, like, throw a plasma grenade to the other one.
Yeah, exactly. And then the third wing comes out of cloak behind the magnetosphere of this moon, and Cassidy is a great assistant as well, because she knows this game. She's fond of playing it with her brother.
She's coaching Julian. I guess this is like a montage, but not quite, where it shows what everybody is doing. Because Quark is having his waiters throw glasses and other things down from the balcony for him to catch and practice his catching.
Faster! Come on!
Yeah. And everybody wants to just improve, and they're like completely focused on it, which is such a great, like, this season was the pinnacle of the Dominion War. Shit got real dark in the lead up to this and continues to.
And then they just had like a lighthearted episode like this in the middle.
Yeah. And like early in the season to remind the viewers at home like what this show can be, and that how much of it is about the love that they have for each other.
Yeah.
Not just a family, right? That's something the Next Generation had done before. The crew becomes like family, but Deep Space Nine is a community.
Yeah. Ezri and Bashir having a little classic, like, I got it moment, and then the ball goes falling off. And Kira catches Odo, like, practicing his baseball calls in the room.
In his office.
You're out. Yeah,
he does a great job.
He does.
Now we get the scene that we've been alluding to this whole time. Cassidy is massaging the minefield of muscular knots from...
Followed by a little bit of batting coaching.
Like, stop. Right there. Look. You're lifting your foot in the backswing. It's been messing up your whole rhythm.
And she sees, oh, I know that look. I want to smash something, but she'll think I'm crazy.
They're your quarters. Smash away.
Smash away.
Yep. And she coaxes the story out. Well, actually, she doesn't coax the story out, and she blackmails the story out of him, basically.
Yeah, exactly.
Like
And before you say no, you better consider the fact that if you don't tell me, you won't have a third baseman.
And finally, we get the truth behind the rivalry between Sisko and Solok.
So, based on what we've seen of Captain Sisko so far, I think that he's on the level. He's telling the story, warts and all.
Yes.
Because, he was a young cadet out with his friends at a bar. And then Solok also comes out with some cadets, and apparently they're studying illogical emotional bonding relations.
Which is such, like, bully...
It's racist bullshit.
We already know that Vulcans can be tremendous bullies, especially when it comes to half-breeds and just humans in general.
Yeah.
And this is just like their idea of fun. And it's like, again, it's like nobody acknowledges that they're doing this to, it's like the same as with the scientific dishing, It's like, shall we go out and study some illogical human behavior, And everybody looks around, so, that sounds like a good exercise.
Perfectly logical. It's bullshit. Because, like, calm is not reason. It can be easily mistaken for it by people who aren't paying attention. But just because someone's calm doesn't make them reasonable. And also just because something is being presented as something that they're saying is objectively true, that doesn't mean it's like the only thing that's true. They've selected one particular thing either to notice or to say.
False dichotomy is a very strong tool.
And you can have biases without being unobjective.
Yeah.
Solak wrote over a dozen papers on Vulcan human comparative profiles. And in the beginning of every paper is an analysis of that damn wrestling match.
Specifically because in his drunken state, he challenged Solok to a wrestling match, which he soundly lost.
Yes, as would be expected.
Yeah, Cassidy.
I don't mean to laugh, but what did you expect? A Vulcan has 3 times the strength of a human.
And, he was a young man, but he can take this on the chin. It didn't, like, permanently damage his pride. Yeah, I made a stupid challenge, and I lost. And that would have been fine if that was it. But Solok, like 5 of those papers that he wrote cited this particular incident in the opening. God, people must have been so bored with it.
Yes.
That's why I'm coming over to your side.
Exactly. It's like he had to. Like he's weak in his own right. He's
got
not
nothing else.
He's not cutting it in the Vulcan disc community, a scientific disc community, and he's got nothing. He's like that jock in who has to keep talking about his great high school achievements.
Which I don't even want to mock that, because for some people, like, that's the case. You had you had your if you peaked early, or you had this bright future ahead of you, and you remember the clarity of that moment. Yeah, of course, that's a tragedy if that didn't come true. But yeah, he just keeps going.
And he could live with it, except now it's personal. Now he made it about baseball.
But now he is using my game.
And Cassidy now completely understands. She so appreciates him being honest about it. And like, you should tell your crew.
Yeah. And oh, no. They can't know it's personal.
But they want to help you.
But it is personal, yes. And you're not telling them either. It's like, honest, pinky swear.
And the abruptness.
Yes.
The abruptness, because she says,
I promise.
And then immediately...
He made me promise not to tell you, so you'll have to keep this under your hats.
Curzon and Jadzia always wondered why Benjamin hated Solak, but he'd never talk about it.
So now we have all the other officers except Sisko gathered in the wardroom, like discussing this secret that Cassidy has sort of wrested from him.
It's kind of like slowly revealing it, and like he's calling it an adolescent rivalry. He's kind of embarrassed about it, really.
Yeah. Like, he hadn't even told Curzon.
Oh, yes. Good point.
Right? And which Ezri's sort of baffled by, or even Jadzia.
I love Worf's comment. It's a dishonorable motive. You know?
Yeah.
I'm beginning to hate him myself.
Oh, yes.
Because they're all on Team Sisko, and realizing that like it's not an adolescent like annoyance. It's someone who's going out of their way to disrespect you and trying to take something from you that's yours.
Yes.
His game. Nobody's played it in centuries, and that's just like vindictive and rotten.
And they decide not to like try anything sneaky or anything. They just go like, okay, we are just going to win this game for him. It's like
win it for the captain.
Gives him some extra motivation to do well.
Now there's something worth fighting for, right?
And they do the thing where he puts his hand on the table, and everyone around, like just like mostly non-humans, are going, what are we doing? And then Cassidy puts her hand on top of that.
Yes.
Oh, so that's what
we're
we're
doing.
That's how we do it.
Go Niners!
Niners! Yes, which is now also what Deep Space Nine fans call themselves.
Oh, yes. I think I read somewhere that it was that these jerseys became available for fan purchase at some point, which made them quite popular.
Yeah, I bet. Oh, God, that's wonderful.
I mean, I looked at it recently. They're still available for sale in some capacity, or even just like the hats you can still buy on StarTrek.com, which, hey, I mean, with the holidays coming up, maybe someone wants to give me a Niners hat. Maybe Kaki wants to give me a Niners hat. Maybe you want to help support us on Patreon so that way we can afford to get me a Niners hat or something like that. And speaking of Patreon, here is just a little taste for you to enjoy. If you want to help support us on Patreon, it's joyoftrek.com/links, and you can find it there. It just helps keep the light on and, you know, helps Kaki get me a really cool hat, if you're so inclined. And you get neat bonus episodes like this, so here's a clip.
I was calling it a shuttle, because it's more than just a shuttle, I guess.
Maybe that's just because of the size. Also, yeah, it doesn't make sense for Quark to settle, like he'd call it his yacht.
Yeah, something like that.
Right?
The captain's yacht.
Is anybody out there?
I mean, it's the same thing where it's like, you know, what's a boat, what's a ship kind of argument.
Yeah. I keep forgetting whether there is a distinction.
So is this already Odo?
General,
No. Yes, I don't know.
far more advanced than our own.
Well, Kay, you've established like really troubling headcanon where in order for Odo to transform into something, he has to and drug it first.
That's not necessarily about the drugging. But actually,
well,
that was
okay.
Was that a requirement, or was it just like because like I'm
Well,
thinking?
I need
someone to talk to these Go on.
No, like okay, but I'm sorry. That's also even more troubling because sometimes he's transformed into just like
Objects?
birds. He's transformed into objects. So, like
Exactly.
like is
The requirement for drugging was because he had to transform into a specific dog.
Right, okay.
And therefore he first had to seduce that dog away.
See, you're criticizing the drugging part, and you're just completely blowing past, like, why does he need to the dog to look like a dog?
Well, he needs to get... That's not necessarily, but first he has to get the dog away from the people. And it's easiest if you do that by being an other dog.
No, you could be a spare, juicy T-bone steak just lying around. You could be a crinkly plastic bag, and the dog will abandon whoever it's with in order to investigate
It
you.
depends. If it's not a very good military dog, if it does that. But a nice saucy bitchin' heat.
Wow. Okay.
Well, okay. But I'm also just thinking like.
You think this goes for all changelings?
No. That's
because they've impersonated other ones.
That's what you made of it. Sorry, Greg.
No, they've other changelings. I'm sorry, Greg. I'm sorry, Greg. You get to talk in a second. Other changelings have successfully impersonated Starfleet personnel. We've seen it happening, and Klingons as well. Did they Gowron to turn into him? Why not? But if they don't need to Gowron to turn into Gowron, why does Odo need to a dog when he doesn't already?
He doesn't need
he
to.
just likes it. Okay,
it's just the easiest way to get the dog away from its handler. Yeah.
They just have to. All the changes have to do is they just have to pretend to be a glory hole. That's all they have to do. They just have to turn into a wall.
There you go. Problem solved.
Okay. Back to the dog thing. I do just want to point out there's sometimes where like if that level of the three of us getting together to record an episode together sounds like fun, then please visit patreon.com/joyoftrek or joyoftrek.com/links to find our Patreon and support us for just a few bucks a month. It really does mean the world to us. Without further ado, back to the episode.
I mean, they also have like the fantastic typefaces. Oh, I had it written down what those various typefaces were. But it's time for the match to start, and it starts off with the Federation anthem, which I was paying attention to who was like doing the heart tapping thing or like holding their hat.
Oh, yes.
Because some people in the audience do that. You know, it's an American thing. Honestly,
yes.
We don't do it over here.
Nope.
Nor do we, I think, salute the flag. You know, that kind of
only if you're in the military, I guess.
Even then, the flag. I don't think.
I think
we don't do that kind of idolatry.
There is some saluting involved, I believe.
Oh, okay.
When the flag is risen, but I'm not sure.
Yeah, I don't know.
I know that during the 2 minutes of silence on Remembrance Day, when they're standing at the official parade, that military officers they hold the salute during those 2 minutes.
Okay.
But other than that, I'm not good on etiquette like that.
So I noticed that all of the logicians have their hats clutched to their hearts. On the Starfleet side, I think it's the actual officers who do it, and the rest of the civilians hold their hands clasped in patient respect. And this is, I think, the first time that the sort of fanfare of the United Federation of Planets is played.
Oh, very good.
It's got a sort of a lilting, mournful attitude to it sometimes.
It's a little bit of a dirge, yes.
And God, Odo looks fantastic in his umpire's outfit.
Yes. He's wearing the padding underneath his jersey. He's wearing his baseball cap backwards. But it first has to start with Sisko going to Solok and asking if it's cool to have the crowd removed. Because
if you wish. Computer, eliminate the spectators.
Quite clever. Oh, it's a form of conflict resolution through psychological manipulation. I think I would call it as the Benjamin Franklin effect.
Okay.
Benjamin Franklin, before he became a presidential candidate...
I know what you're talking about.
Right?
Yes.
He had a political rival. It was really, really bad. They dissed each other very successfully in the newspapers over and over and over again. And when he wanted a political career, he decided that he wanted this conflict to end so that it wouldn't interfere with his campaigns.
Yeah.
And so the reasoning that he landed on is, you don't get someone to like you by doing them favors. You get them to do you a favor, and then they sort of reconstruct their mental model of you. I would only do a favor to someone that I like. And so he asked this person to contribute a book to his library, and they're like very, very flattering and making it such that, it's the kind of generosity that you don't really have a reason to refuse because it's good for your ego.
Exactly. And it shows that you're a generous and gracious person and
exactly
contributing to the scientific body and all that kind of thing.
Yeah, and Franklin had to humble himself, and maybe that's what Sisko's trying to do here.
Oh,
to try and de-escalate.
Yeah. So, hey, batter, let's see.
I can't believe the chief made his mum record this recommendation,
yes,
and then sat in the background like a chorus of Muppets, sort of yelling at her. Yeah. Hey, na, what the hell? Oh, what a...
Death to the opposition.
I wonder if... hey, Chief Mum, do you relate to Ishka at all? Because your kids, they have some Quark and Rom energy in your brood there.
Well, Kaki, I do feel like Ishka at times. You haven't talked to my other two kids. When they're all together, we just sit back and listen to the verbal exchanges as they try to get in a better zinger. For example, just yesterday, one of them asked a serious question, wanting to know which title was the best, when two of them went off with weird suggestions. When he got back to the conversation, he said, "Thanks, guys, you are no help."
So, it starts off disastrously.
Uh-huh.
It's like 7, I mean, it opens with a home run, and then there's 7 runs for the Vulcans in the first inning.
Cool.
Three strikeouts immediately by the
that's
Niners.
Bad. Don't want those.
Death to the opposition.
Sorry.
Yeah.
We have to have that one.
Vulcans show that they're not above playing a little bit dirty, like a nasty slide into second base.
Yeah.
Taking out Esri.
Which they question whether that was legal, and yet
it's legal.
Barely, like it's not very sporting. For the logicians, they hired some proper baseball players.
Right, I was wondering about that, because I noticed some good slides and moves, taking the ball, twisting around while still in the slide and starting to throw it towards first base during Rom's bunt.
Like, it was both to make it look good and to show that the Niners are in trouble, and also to make sure that maneuvers were being done that were safe for the actors to be around.
Yeah,
because they knew how to do a decent slide. But yeah, the vibe in the team, they're struggling a bit. But I really appreciate how sort of well balanced it is, because Cisco goes between chiding people for, hey, you're making mental mistakes.
Yeah.
You're actually better than this. So get your act together, focus on what you need to focus on instead of on whatever. But when they're down in the dumps about, things not going their way, he's also quite supportive. When they're not making any mistakes and they're down about that, hey, no.
Then he's doing the whole proper coach thing.
Yeah. So finding that balance, I think he's doing a really good job, as is the rest of the team. Miles is there as well, of course.
It all comes to a head when Odo makes a dubious call, apparently, about whether or not that last ball was a strike or a ball. And he calls Worf out, leading to...
Argues back.
Yeah.
And Cisco runs right over.
Starts arguing.
Gentlemen, you are trying my patience.
Yeah.
You stole a run like you took it off the scoreboard and blah, 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 until he finally pokes Odo in the chest, which gets him evicted.
You're out of here!
What? No player shall at any time make contact with the umpire in any manner. The prescribed penalty for the violation is immediate ejection from the game. Rule number 4.06, subsection A, paragraph 4. Look it up, but do it in the stands. You're gone!
So Bashir actually has to remind him that he's in charge of the game. It's like, yeah, you're in charge now. And you can see him hesitating there for a moment. It's like doing this blank caught in the headlights there, and then that NCO switch gets flipped, and it's like, right, everybody, yeah,
okay.
Get on with it. He immediately just starts taking charge, ordering them around like they're a bunch of his ensigns.
Yeah. I wondered if that moment was less about doubt whether he has it in him to take charge, or that he first wanted to say, all right, everybody pick up a brew. No, so paint.
Yeah.
No, hang on. Scan. No, inventory. No. Baseball. That's what we're doing.
Yeah, there you go. Exactly. So yeah, he get in the field and get playing ball. He makes a quick rearrangement of the schedule, tells everybody where to go, and the game continues.
Yep. And Cisco walks into the stands, grumpily lounging like an angry jock,
looking almost offended at Rom, who's still sitting there cheering and doing that weird little clap where he's clapping the back of his hand.
Oh, that's how Bajorans applaud.
Oh, right.
So he must have learned that from his wife.
Right, yes. Or in general.
Or just because, when in Rome, do as the Romans do, and it is a Bajoran space station that they're on.
Fair point, yes. So, almost another home run by the logicians, but Esri does a little fancy Dan in running up the wall and catching it in a backflip.
Yeah, it looks so cool.
Now that is a fancy Dan!
The next one is when a runner misses the base and
Nog doesn't quite realize.
Yep, and you see Odo just standing there, just make a call and
not saying anything because there's nothing to call.
Exactly. So the game is still on.
Yeah, and just looking away.
Yeah, I know this from IPSC matches where you got the same thing. It's usually when you've finished your stage and you're shooting,
which is a marksmanship.
It's a shooting contest. Yes, basically you run around, you shoot all the targets, and you're timed for points.
Yeah.
And at the end of the stage, the range officer standing behind you tells you to like unload and choke them clear. And sometimes when you're standing there looking like, okay, I'm finished, the range officer doesn't say his line. At which point you really have to start wondering which target did I forget to shoot at. Yeah, it's like... So that's exactly what's going on here.
And then the team realizes, and they yell at Nog,
"Find him and kill him!"
Just like Worf's got his Klingon up.
Go into the dugout. Which one? All of them.
Yeah, because the Vulcan has sort of relied on the fact, hey, we do kind of all look alike to aliens who aren't familiar with.
He doesn't know which one it was. He didn't look at our number.
Not paying attention to that degree. And Nog, like, he taps one, and then he looks back at just tap them all. Come on.
The last one goes running, but he manages to throw the ball to Jake, who's been told to cover home, and they manage to get him out.
He's out!
And Sisko's spirits are lifted, and he only has Rom to talk to, whom he tells something that he told to the prophets back in Emissary, the very first episode.
Yes.
Explaining linear existence, that while the past, informs and guides us, it doesn't actually inform the future. Every situation is different. Everything can turn out differently from every previous one.
Wait, is that a deleted scene? Because I don't remember him telling Rom anything.
Oh, sorry, I'm talking about in the pilot episode, the premiere episode of Deep Space Nine.
Oh, right.
Where he's speaking to the prophets, who are non-linear aliens, and he's using the metaphor of baseball.
Okay,
right. It
It
has these rules, it has this situation, but even if the situation looks identical to a previous game, anything can still happen.
Right.
And it wouldn't be worth playing otherwise. So yeah, he's enthusiastically waxing prosaic to Rom, who says,
"It looks like a lot of fun."
And that gives him an idea.
Yes. So he basically tells O'Brien to make a substitution. Jake, who's about to go up for bat, gets replaced by Rom.
Oh, you've got to be kidding. We've got a man on third. We could score.
Sit down, Quark. Go ahead, Rom.
Let him play. And Sisko has one more trick up his sleeve to get Rom into a more encouraged mode. He turns the audience back on. He has the announcer. He has the announcer call Rom's name. Yeah, go for it.
Now pinch hitting for Jake Sisko, number 13.
And you can see that it actually seems to help him, at least mentally. It doesn't make him any better, because he still strikes out twice.
I think at this point, Sisko has already figured out how he's going to win. He doesn't expect a miracle from Rom.
No.
He wants a fun game for his crew.
Yes, he wants a good team. He wants a family together. And yes, he knows that this is like a Hail Mary, although that's the wrong sport again.
Yeah, well, there's probably, all sports have weird things. Cricket, Christ, it has some ridiculous, silly mid-on and sticky wickets. They're silly terms, but if you enjoy cricket as...
Yeah.
I know very, very many people do.
Oh, yes.
Is it mostly just an excuse to bring a picnic basket and a 12-pack?
I think so, yes.
And just to hang out for...
And then just watch it depends. If it's test cricket,
matches,
it's literally a affair that lasts 10 days at least, or 5 days. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's 5
Good
days.
value.
5 days in total or 5 days per team. I'm not sure, one or the other. But it takes a while.
And Miles has an idea for Rom to do. Hey, you can do one of those. What's it called again?
Bunt.
Yeah, let's do one of those.
Yes.
Okay, give him the signal.
And everybody starts doing the whole tapping.
Sort of miming. But he wasn't at practice. He doesn't
know the signals. No.
So he just sort of cluelessly gawks at them, while the pitcher happens to throw a ball right at his bat.
Yep, and it hits the ball. The ball's in, and this allows, who is it again? Is it Nog, who is on third base?
Oh, yeah.
To come inside and to score the point.
It's an excellent slide, and Odo calls it...
Strike!
And everyone, let's just listen to this cheering.
Everybody, they're carrying Rom on their shoulders. To which Solok protests most harshly.
Yes.
The game isn't over. This is entirely inappropriate behavior.
Odo isn't very interested. turns around, moving on, because he probably expects, I'm just going to let this happen for a bit and then we'll continue with the game.
Exactly. But Solok puts his hand on Odo's shoulder and like, it's not over.
And in a gif that you can probably hear over this podcast.
You can see the grin on Odo's face. It's like, yeah.
Who informed Solok?
Yes.
And we're all back at Quark's.
Yep. Post-game celebrations.
Yeah, because it was a hell of a game. Even and Jake... Okay, you're going to have to explain this joke to me, because Jake, like, complains that he gave up 10 runs.
Yeah.
And his dad says...
They're Vulcans. If they were humans, you'd have held them to just 2 or 3.
Well,
is that...
He's just saying how good the Vulcans are. You know, they're Vulcans. They're like 3 times as strong and faster too.
But, like, is it sort of damning with faint praise? Like, if they were humans, you would have still sucked a bit, but just not as badly. Like, giving them 2 or 3 runs, is that bad, or is that okay?
I mean, everybody gets a couple of runs against them. You know? It's like, it's when you start getting multiple home runs against you, that's when they start talking about replacing pitchers. But
they
don't really have that option. Yes. No, this isn't damning with faint praise. This is genuine. It's just like saying, you know, you can, like, because they're 3 times as strong and twice as fast, like, you know, you can, like, divide that number by 3. So it's not as bad.
Yeah,
like,
fair.
I mean, otherwise, 10 runs against you is pretty bad, I think, in professional baseball. Actually, I don't know. But
I don't know either.
It sounds bad.
And he has one more duty to fulfill, that Sisko goes up to Rom.
Yes.
Says he owes him an apology, and Rom says, well, no.
No. Unless you really want to.
Yeah. Which is like something that he'd say to Quark, except when he really doesn't expect it. But yes.
And he says he's sorry, right? He doesn't do the thing where I guess I owe you an apology.
No.
If you were infected, and if you were offended, then I would have to say that I am sorry.
Right,
no, it's just straight up, offers his hand, offers his apology. It's accepted. And they can celebrate together.
Solok comes up to complain. It's like,
I fail to see why you are celebrating. Ferengi's bunt was an accident, and you still lost the game.
You are absolutely right. And I couldn't be happier.
Quark, a round of drinks.
Yeah, for the house on my tab.
Quark's already ahead.
It's like, yeah, way ahead of you. It's like, this one's right. Oh, this is all on your tab. It's like, yeah.
What do you think? You think I'm handing out free drinks? And they get to show, like, they don't have to defeat Solok.
Yes.
Right? They don't have to show him up. And they, like...
He accuses them of manufacturing a triumph where there is none. And, like, yeah, let's cheers to manufacture triumph.
Hell yeah. We're having a great time.
And we had a great fun playing a game. Yeah.
Yeah. Which Solok didn't.
And he kind of turns it around. It's like, yeah, oh, did I hear it? It's like a typical human reaction based on emotional logic. And like, did I hear irritation in that?
Yeah, ooh.
Hint of anger.
And just a touch of jealousy.
And a lot of bitterness.
Yeah.
Are you always this emotional?
Ooh, them fighting words. That's Lee who says that last one. Yeah,
that's Cassidy.
Okay. Oh yes, Cassidy. Yes.
Yeah. And he refuses to engage in this human.
Did I forget to wear my spots today?
Yes.
Yeah. And Quark is there as well. Like, he still doesn't know. And they just laugh at their bully.
Right. And they give Sisko their signed baseball, which as a token of appreciation.
Which is amazing.
Yes.
They've all signed it. He even offers it to Solok. Do you want to sign it?
It's like, join the family. Yes. Like,
no.
Yeah. No, he doesn't. So, oh no. All they laughing together. Oh my.
Did you see him? Did you see all the signatures on the?
Yeah.
Did you see Quark?
I didn't get a good enough look at it. But,
if you have the GIFs there, try and zoom in on it, because Quark signed it with Latin letters, except he put big ears around the Q.
Oh, I can't seem to.
It's really cute.
Make this work on this.
And he tosses it up in the air.
Yep.
And we crossfade beautifully from the spherical ball to the near spherical space station. Oh, do you even notice, like, the Niners logo had integrated the sort of baseball, you know, the stitching on the baseball,
yes,
with the pylons of Deep Space Nine?
No, I had not noticed that.
Oh my god, it's a masterpiece.
Kaki, I have to admit, I'm a little bit surprised at you, because you didn't even mention the fact in this entire episode that the Vulcans logo on their helmet is the IDIC. The second that I saw that, I was like, you've got to be kidding me. It's the IDIC. Because I'd never known what it was until you explained it from that episode earlier. So I just thought that was a neat little thing that you didn't talk about, so I just had to shove in here. It's great.
So, yes.
Jesus Christ, that's loud.
Yes.
I thought I fixed those.
Clearly not.
Well, I'm going to turn my little... Well, you know how technology is. It's a little bit tricky, first of all. So, yeah, we've made it to the end of that episode. I apologize for all my various technological mishaps, but you know how I get when I've got a new toy.
Yes, it's fun, for a little bit of fun and experimentation to see how we can spice up this podcast for our listeners at home.
And so, who is your MVP? Hey, if we're sticking with the sport, who did you think was
so fucking cool
in this episode?
Ooh, hard to put that on. I think I'm going to have to go with Esri Dax, or maybe even the actress who plays
Nicole de Boer.
Nicole de Boer, because getting thrown into a role for an existing character in a established crew is very tough, and I think they did a wonderful job in portraying that well.
Yeah,
so
I think she did as well.
Getting into the team, going with that. I mean, I guess they're not married to Worf anymore. How does that work? Probably not.
No, she's not married. In fact, that's a bit of a plot line in season 7, like them figuring out their relationship. For Worf, it's quite difficult as well.
Yes.
Like he struggles to move on from Jadzia's death when a part of Jadzia is still
yes. I mean, to death do his part is like, you know...
And he has this concept of like the afterlife, and what does that mean for Jadzia? Yes. Does she get to go to Sto-vo-kor?
Right.
Or... Yes. So those are things that it's a really fascinating relationship to work out. I think that's a great choice. I think mine even might go to Solok. Specifically Gregory Wagrowski, the actor. He had to play Solok in a very, like, it was a tightrope. Had to clearly be an asshole, but not clearly be an asshole, but clearly be an asshole.
Yes.
Still, but also not like make Vulcans as the villains, or
you have to be like make it personal. Of course, it depends entirely what you attribute his obsession with human logic and clinging for human illogic to. I think
that's why we're going up onto the
Captain's Log Supplemental.
Yeah, hit me.
Well, that's actually about something else. Okay, so here we talk about a scene that made it on the cutting room floor, and it's a scene that would be interjected right between the first practice session and the session in sickbay, where O'Brien is. It's basically his rotator cuff's a little stitch up between O'Brien and Bashir. And
again!
I'm just like, no, I really can't do this. No. I mean, you just got to tell me that I can't pitch anymore. Like, I've got some field course in line, and I really cannot get in on this. And you have to help me. You have to write me a sick note to get me out of this.
Oh God! Considering how often he's torn his rotator cuff kayaking. He must have done this a lot.
I know, right?
Julian, can you do me another one? Jesus.
It's just his go-to.
I did the Hippocratic Oath and everything. You can't keep asking. But nobody breaks my arm like you do. There's even a close-up when they were all in sickbay where Jake, there's a focus on like his elbow.
Yeah.
Which I wonder if that's a reference to like Rookie of the Year. I do know a baseball thing.
Okay.
It's the film Rookie of the Year, which is based on an earlier film called Roogie's Bump. Okay. It's about a young boy who breaks his arm in a miraculous way, which makes him really good at pitching or hitting or something.
I might have seen that movie, yes.
So whether he was can you sort of feel whether my bump is coming in yet?
Right.
You know,
well, I mean,
got my moustache growing.
The elbow is notoriously easy part to injure when you're like throwing lots of balls.
Oh, yeah. Tennis elbow is also a thing.
Well, yes.
But
tennis elbows, that's not about throwing.
That's the
repetitive strain injury, is that. But, the same. Same goes like both baseball pitchers and cricket pitchers have that frequently have elbow issues because they're basically trying to overextending it, trying to get as much.
You get a snap.
Much flex and power.
At the extension.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. I'm kind of inspired by the weird and terrible comedy film MacGruber, which is also about a lifelong rivalry that started in college where the hero doesn't understand where this beef comes from. Because we used to be friends. I'm like, I hung out with his girlfriend until I started seeing her behind his back, and like
no idea where
it
this
on.
came from.
She, by the time that I talked her into leaving him, like she was already pregnant, and of course I made her get rid of it because who wants to deal with that? But I still don't understand why.
So what is your missing scene? That like Sisko's been picking on this Vulcan and taunting him with his overly logical behavior.
Maybe
liven up a little bit.
I think it might even be worse. That maybe when he and his friends went out drinking, they liked to pick on Vulcans.
Yeah.
And they thought they were just picking different ones every time. But no, it was always Solok, and they just couldn't tell. So they have no idea that they'd been bullying him for years. And then he brought his friends over. No, these humans keep doing it to me. No, he finally got some friends together. Like, you've got to watch. And why are you here? We're just looking at bonding rituals. And then, made him wrestle. Like, he tried to be gentle, but like, Sisko just kept throwing himself at him, like smashing his own hip against
he was drunk?
Yeah, exactly. A poor Solok.
Very good.
Let's find out what's happening in the...
Next time on an all-new episode of Star Trek.
Oh, I do love the sound of
yes.
Because, and also, thank you, Chief Mum, for that recommendation. And if anybody at home would like to send in your own recommendation, you can do so at joyoftrek.com/links. Don't worry, it's just a text form. And if the chief pulls you out of the hat, you can be invited, but certainly not required, to send in an audio version. We're perfectly happy to read that. And if you do choose to record it yourself, I can't promise that the chief won't be yelling, "Hey, batter, batter," behind you the whole time, whether he has that technology available to him, but let's hope not. So let's see what recommendation he's chosen for us next time based on these clues.
I hope you have a lot of pre-boys on board because I'm willing and waiting.
Whoa.
A lot of
pretty boys.
Oh, pretty boys. Okay, yes.
Chief, did you maybe put on an episode of Lex instead?
We're going to the planet of the milk-fed boys. Jakarota likes.
And there was a rather peculiar limerick being delivered by someone in the shuttlecraft bay. I'm not sure I understand it. There was a young lady from Venus whose body was shaped like a...
Okay.
Okay.
This does not sound familiar to me yet.
I sort of have an idea. I'm not willing to say it yet.
Yeah.
But it's a really deep cut, though.
Attention all decks, all divisions. Effective immediately, I've handed over control of this vessel to acting captain Wesley Crusher.
Okay, next generation, clearly
next
then?
generation. Early next generation would have to be, because he was a regular still then.
You are fully functional, aren't you?
Okay, yeah, no, now we know. I think now we know which one it is. We have one more clue.
I don't know what it's called, but yeah.
Data, I'm only going to tell you this just once. It never happened.
Well, that was Yar.
Tasha Yar,
Yes.
and I think it was called The Naked Now or The Naked Time, which... the second episode of Star Trek The Next Generation. You've just introduced these characters, and then what am I going to do? I'm going to show you what they're like when they're completely f***ing insane.
Good point, yes.
Let's see which one it is.
The episode is TNG 103, The Naked Now.
Very good, yes.
There we go. Okay. Wow. Star Trek The Next Generation's first season is one that I haven't revisited a lot, because sure was rough, but
well, let's just say that they were still finding their stride.
Oh yeah, but that sort of makes it amazing. So I'm excited to see that. Thank you all for joining us once again on The Joy of Trek. And Kay, what are you doing?
I'm leaving Starfleet.
Energize.
Oh, I missed it! I'm so excited with my technology, I missed it again.
We hope you've enjoyed this week's episode with your friends Kay and Kaki, production and editing by our chief engineer Greg, and music by Fox Amore. Join us next time for TNG 103, The Naked Now. Visit joyoftrek.com/links to send us your recommendations, support us on Patreon, or to find us on Twitter. We'd love to hear from you. Thank you for listening to The Joy of Trek, and we'll see you out there.